Welcome into the Alabama Football Report by Chat Sports. And boy, do we have a big-time show for you guys today. On three rivals, BamaOnline, whatever you want to call them these days, have put in a new prediction now for Alabama to land a four-star defensive lineman. That one is a really, really big thing we're going to touch on today. Also, Kalen DeBoer and the Alabama coaching staff selected 3 players to join them for SEC Media Day. And also, Hugh Freeze out here making comments, making excuses about why Auburn just is not doing very good job recruiting this cycle. We'll talk about all of that here on today's video. But if you guys do not want to miss an Alabama football commitment, every single time the Crimson Tide have gotten a commitment during this recruiting process, we have put a short or a community post, something out there for you guys, and it is not finished yet, according to BamaOnline. So do not miss out. Hit that sub button. Stay locked into all things Alabama football related. All right, like I said, BamaOnline is reporting that Alabama is now back in the fold for 4-star defensive lineman KJ Ford. And, just a couple of days ago, it really did seem like Alabama was not going to be in this race at all for KJ Ford. Even Hayes Fawcett putting this graphic out just the other day saying, he's going to be committing on July 11th. That is tomorrow. And the 3 teams that he had there were Ohio State, Florida, and Texas A&M. But today, Tim Watts of BamaOnline posting this, making this report, saying sources indicate that the door has not been shut on Kevin KJ Ford in the Crimson Tide's recruiting class. In fact, Alabama is very much still in the mix per the same sources. The Texas native is set to commit on Friday, July 11th, but conversations have picked up recently, initiated by the Ford side, and it really came down to working out the particulars. I wonder what the particulars are exactly. It kind of reads to me like maybe some NIL revenue sharing kind of came along there for KJ Ford. I'm just, speculating as a fan on that one. But KJ Ford would be another massive pickup, especially for Alabama's defensive line. This has been really the focal point for Alabama in this recruiting class, has been the defensive line. And, one thing that really does stick out to me, he's from Duncanville High School, same high school as Keelan Russell as well. He visited both in the springtime and in the summertime. And, it really does seem like things are trending now towards Alabama getting KJ Ford in this class. It's going to be a guy that's probably either going to play bandit or that wolf position. I think with his body size right now, 6'4", listed at 245 on his 247 Sports recruiting profile, that could go either way. Maybe he starts at bandit, ends up going to wolf. It could go either way, but those are the 2 positions there that really make sense there for KJ Ford. And it didn't stop there. Both Sam Spiegelman and Steve Wiltfong went ahead and put in official predictions. And then not too long before we started filming this video today, the BamaOnline staff, Andrew Bone, Tim Watts, and others also put in official predictions for Alabama to land KJ Ford tomorrow. So let me know what you guys think down at the pinned comment of today's video. Will Alabama end up landing KJ Ford? In my opinion, if the BamaOnline staff puts in an official prediction, they are batting 1,000 during this recruiting cycle. So total credit to them there. They are, going crazy this recruiting cycle with correct predictions. But I'm going to hear from you guys as well down at the pinned comment of today's video. Type Y for yes or N for no. All right, there's also a couple of other players we're still kind of waiting on right now, whether that is, an actual commitment date or if we're just kind of waiting for it to pop. It feels like Taden Kawa is a guy that's, going to eventually commit to Alabama as their second quarterback. They're also going after at least one more offensive lineman in this class, whether that's Wilson Zaire or recent commit, recent offer and Georgia Tech commit, Bear Fretwell, also in the fold now. He's a 3-star guy, a little bit lower rated, but you know what? I'm inclined to, trust the Alabama coaching staff's evaluations on guys. Nick Abrams still is out there, technically one of the best linebackers in the country. He's set to commit on July 16th. I believe it was Chad Simmons put out not too long ago as well. Seems like Oregon and Georgia are the two top teams there for him. And then we're still waiting on Anthony Tank Jones as well, number 2 player out of the state of Alabama. I believe I also saw just a little while ago, he actually mentioned late July, early August when he would actually make his commitment announcement. So we'll see on that. I think, Tank is probably still the number 1 player that you're going after. And also I do want to mention this in that same little piece that Tim Watts talked about Kevin Ford. They also said this had nothing to do with Tank Jones maybe leaning a different way. So there is still a possibility there that Alabama could land Kevin Ford and Tank Jones. Man, what a defensive line class that would be for the Crimson Tide. Coming off kind of some, conversations about Freddie Roach. Is he the right guy? Can he recruit? Seems like Alabama's doing a pretty damn good job in that department. We'll continue on here in just a second, but want to give a shout out to our friends over at Fanatics. You guys can get what I am calling the Kalen DeBoer hat. It is on sale right now. Was $25 on sale for just $8 right now. Just go to chatsports.com/DeBoer hat. It's the same exact hat that he wears on game days, kind of that performance dry fit type of material. So keep your head cooled here during the scorching hot summertime in Alabama. So do not miss out. Get that hat on sale right now. Was $25. Now it's $8. Just go to chatsports.com/DeBoer hat. All right, we'll also touch on this here for just a second. Alabama has selected 3 players to join them for SEC Media Day, which is actually going to be next week, July 14th through the 17th. Unfortunately, I'm going to be out on vacation next week, so we ended up just doing a bunch of prediction breakdowns that are going to end up going out for you guys. So not really going to touch on a lot of this stuff probably until I get back from vacation. But Tim Keenan, Deontay Lawson, Caden Proctor are going to be the 3 players that Alabama takes to SEC Media Day. And usually a lot of times it seems like whoever ends up going to SEC Media Day ends up kind of being those captains for Alabama. Obviously, Deontay Lawson was a captain last year, and it would make a whole lot of sense, in my opinion, for Tim Keenan and Caden Proctor to also be captains this year as well. I think those are 3 really, really solid players that can really represent the University of Alabama and Alabama athletics as a whole. So let me know in the comments section yet again, who would you guys, if you were Kalen DeBoer, who would you bring to SEC Media Days? Maybe it's 1 player that you put down there. Maybe it's 3 to 4 players, whatever it is. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section. All right, now to the part of the show that I have been just waiting for, honestly. AJ McCarron. This is honestly why AJ McCarron's probably my second favorite Alabama player of all time, probably behind Julio Jones. He fired off on his podcast on Hugh Freeze after he made some kind of wild, excusey kind of comments about why Auburn's recruiting class has been so poor here during the summertime. And Auburn fans and Hugh Freeze, they're trying to go out there and cope saying, oh, it's only July. Signing day isn't until December or February. And it starts in June and July. You can't start off super slow and expect things to pick up, during the season, especially when Auburn probably, I'm just going to guess, not probably going to be very good this year yet again, because I don't believe in Hugh Freeze. I think he's kind of a trash head coach. I think he's not a good human being either. And, I think he has had more birdie putts than he has recruits landed in this class so far. So first, we're going to go through what Hugh Freeze actually said, and then we'll also talk about what AJ McCarron said as well. Talking about Auburn's recruiting woes and why they're not doing so good. He said, first of all, you want to make sure you're operating with what the settlement says, talking about the House versus the NCAA settlement. And he said, I think we are. We are going by what we believe to be an accurate interpretation of it. It's not really to our advantage to what we're doing right now, because of others, I think, are operating in a different manner. But the main thing but the main thing that I don't think people understand is retaining our current roster. It used to not affect high school recruiting. You were going to sign your 20, 25 guys, but now with the salary cap, you have to look at a room like our wide receiver room, where on paper, We're not going to lose a single kid, and we've got to retain those guys because I like that room as a whole. So you don't have have the means to do, or so to speak, to go after the number of high school receivers that you would have normally wanted to go after, because you can't really, again, on paper, we're not losing anyone, and I don't want to lose anyone. I really like that room, and I love our young defensive linemen as well. It's kind of difficult. You know, you're sitting here trying to sign a class when you really don't know what your current roster will look like in January. I don't understand how that makes any sense at all. Really, most of it doesn't make much sense, but he goes on to say, so that's a challenge, but you have to operate within the manner with what the settlement really says in the interpretation that we have received and what we are doing. Now, to me, none of that really made any sense, and I'm sorry, I kind of butchered it because, I don't know, he speaks in riddles, it seems like sometimes. But anyways, AJ McCarron on his podcast talked about Hugh Freeze and kind of his take on the whole thing here, saying Hugh Freeze is full of shit. I think Hugh Freeze is just trying to do whatever he can do to save face. He is starting to feel pressure at Auburn, going into his third year, not having the success that the alumni, the boosters, everybody donating a lot of money thought he would have at this point. I think he is trying to figure out and scramble on why they are not successful. Well, in my opinion, I can tell you why they're not successful. It's because they're not being authentic. I think they're fake as hell. The last two recruiting classes, they go out there and they throw money at these kids, and look, some of the kids took the money. That's totally fine. I'm not against taking the money. But then you go out there and you suck during the season, and these recruits can see they're not stupid. They can see that it's not really working out with Hugh Freeze at Auburn. And you look at their current recruiting class right now, 78th overall with only 9 commits in this recruiting class. Meanwhile, Alabama has 19 commits, and they're ranked number 5, and there's an opportunity to get a 20th tomorrow, and then who knows, maybe you get Anthony Tank Jones after that as well. You have the opportunity to go out there and sign the top 4 players out of the state of Alabama. After all these Auburn fans last year talked all this crap about Kalen DeBoer, calling him Husky Harsin, saying he doesn't have these connections to the South. He's never going to be able to recruit the South. Well, this year he is dominating the state of Alabama. He is really doing a very, very good job in the state of Georgia. He's doing a great job in the state of Mississippi as well. You got Nolan Wilson. He's from the state of Mississippi, and they're still going out to the West Coast and getting some of the top talent out of the state of California as well. This Kalen DeBoer staff has been doing a phenomenal job, and I am so excited that I'm an Alabama fan and not an Auburn fan. So let me know, how hot do you guys think Hugh Freeze's seat is going into this season? Type H if you think it's already hot. Type W if you think it's kind of lukewarm right now, or type C if you think it's cold. No way he gets fired no matter what happens. Hugh Freeze a couple weeks ago, by the way, said his expectation is to make a bowl game, not even to win a bowl game. I could not imagine those being the expectations at Alabama, just making a bowl game. Just getting 6 wins just does not cut it in Tuscaloosa. In my opinion, I think if it's not warm, it is definitely hot going into the 2025 season.